Why are they studying Black women like we're a problem that needs to be solved? This woman right here broke down how one of the major members of the Heritage Foundation has a doctorate degree in African American studies, specifically in Black resilience. The two things that the Black community needs in order to go through any type of turmoil that they've thrown at us is Black women and community.
I've been seeing this go around. Kevin Roberts, president of the Heritage Foundation, got a PhD in African American history and then used it to author Project 2025 and dismantle civil rights. Y'all know this sent me down a rabbit hole, right? Y'all want to come? Come on. I said, there's no way this man has a degree in African American history. Learn the things that he learned about African Americans, about the formerly enslaved, and come out the megalomaniac that he is today. And I saw in his Wikipedia that his degree is not in African American history. His degree is in history. Now, he has what we would call a concentration. Wikipedia says main interest in African American history. For those people with multiple degrees, you know that you can choose an area with maybe one or two disciplines. So it wasn't his main focus per se, but in looking at his Wikipedia, you know, I found his thesis and I found his dissertation. When he got his Master of Arts in History, he wrote his thesis on African Virginian extended kin, the prevalence of West African family forms among slaves in Virginia, 1740 to 1870. For his dissertation, he did Slaves and Slavery in Louisiana, the Evolution of Atlantic World Identity, 1791 to 1831. You know, I took notes. Now, in his master's thesis, he spoke about how the extended family, extended kin was a way to resist, right? He talked about the centrality of that. He spoke about the high status and influence of women. He said it was matrifocal, and that without these enslaved people being matrifocal, they wouldn't have been able to see any success when it came to freeing themselves. If you're not picking up what I'm putting down, without the women, things wouldn't have changed or moved. That's what he means in this paper. He also talked about the flexible systems of descent, meaning family, right? It wasn't just everything was through the father. It was like, oh, that's my cousin them. Oh, that's auntie them. Like how extended kin played a central role in the enslaved community and how it helped them to resist. Community. He learned that community and women were key central focuses of the enslaved community that led to their freedom. Now, in his dissertation, he focused the main core argument, there were a couple of them, but only two I want to focus on, is that how enslaved people in Louisiana shaped their world by actively resisting. That's what he learned. He also learned that the enslaved used the Catholic Church, the rights of the Catholic Church, market gatherings, legal petitions to build community and push back against slavery. Let's go back to that market gatherings. To me, that sounds like a cookout. It seems like they would gather together and plan and organize, which means everybody wasn't invited to the cookout, market gathering. In order for things to get better, everybody wasn't invited to the market gathering.
Then I'm sitting here watching Tennessee redraw districts again, and suddenly it's all starting to feel connected.
I'll give you a few seconds to wrap up.
These are not extractions. These are the daily grinding, unglamorous functions of congressional representation. That is the real cost of what this body is doing today. You call yourselves the party of law and order, but by calling a special session, you broke the law to change the law, to allow Donald Trump to continue being above the law. But you call yourselves people of faith. People of faith do not convene like this at the behest of a president who has been found liable of sexual abuse, who has been convicted of 34 felonies, who I've never seen profess Jesus Christ as his Lord and Savior, and who is waging a war in Iran that is driving up gas prices to $4 a gallon. You did not call us here for those things, to change the gas prices, tax relief. Tennessee is not a red state, Mr. Speaker. Tennessee is a gerrymandered state. We are a suppressed state. And today, y'all are proving my point.
Thank you, Senator Oliver. Senator Powers, you're recognized. Clear.
So first we need to look at what are the ways that we have been resilient, right? Churches, communities, mutual aid, Black women organizing, shared struggles, shared culture, right? Even historically, when resources were limited, community filled the gaps. The act of weakening a people's resilience doesn't come through in one big master plan, right? It comes through a bunch of little bitty plans. It comes through isolation, economic stress, distrust, overworking people, division, removing political influence, separating communities geographically, attacking education, history, community spaces. This is how you target resilience in a people. Moving forward, in Tennessee, they just passed a redistricting bill, and Marsha Blackburn came out and said, hey, we got to jump on this. And in 2 days, they ended up having the vote. It was a mess. So while I'm sitting here watching these districts getting carved up, while hearing discussions about Black resilience, it really made me start thinking about how power, true power, actually operates. The redistricting map, it literally affects everybody. It affects you, it affects me, it affects everyone. It affects representation, it affects resource allocation, it affects community influence, school funding, political power. Do you get where I'm feeling a little uneasy? So what happens when the things that hold people together start disappearing? You're already feeling isolated, distrustful, exhausted, disconnected, atomized. And then you look at the voting process. For a long time, I have not felt like a vote actually matters. I felt like it did. At one point in time, your vote actually mattered. At what point, I have no idea. But there was some sort of fracture in which voting no longer even makes any sense. And I get it. If your vote didn't matter, why would they try so hard to take it away, right? Because we don't know what to do with our vote, and that scares them. We're too willy-nilly with our votes, and that scares them. Because you don't know which way the tide's gonna turn. But after you stack a certain amount of nonsense, then there is no point. For example, in Tennessee, Republicans have the Senate. So when this bill was introduced to redistrict the entire state, and they said they wanted to hop on that, they were able to get it done because Republicans run the Senate. Nobody's thinking about Senate votes. No one's thinking about that. And everybody forgets all about things like this whenever they go to the voting booths. We forget. We have the memory of goldfish. Because Marsha Blackburn has done a whole bunch of fuck shit in this state. But everybody seems to get amnesia some kind of way, allowing for more and more of the other side to continue to do their fuck shit. And I know, I get it. It's all about, the Republicans. Okay, but also it was in, actually, where the hell was it? Let me see, I'm find it. Okay, here we go. On May 8th, 2026, the Supreme Court of Virginia blocked a voter-approved constitutional amendment aimed at redistricting, ruling 4-3 that the General Assembly violated state constitutional procedural requirements. The court invalidated the referendum because lawmakers advanced the proposal after early voting had already begun for the 2025 election, failing the mandatory intervening election sequencing rule. Screenshot that and put it up somewhere here. So basically, the people wanted it. The people of Virginia wanted to be redistricted, right? Democrats hold the Senate in Virginia, right? The Supreme Court blocked that shit. Said you can't do it because y'all tried to vote on it too early. Marsha Blackburn had them voting on this shit in 2 days. It was announced that it could be done on a Monday. Baby, by Thursday, we was voting. Didn't nobody want it? You saw the lady on the chair. I don't know who that is. To be honest with you, I really don't know who that is. But you see, she really did not want to get down up off of that chair. She protesting. And then, I'm going to try to put it in here some kind of way. But y'all see all of these people outside.
Lauren Turman, who's been in Nashville all morning, and she has been witnessing this. Let's join her now live with an update on what has been happening from her perspective. Lauren. All right, we're not going to listen to Lauren because obviously it's extremely loud out there, but you can see the protesters and you can hear. I'm going to be quiet for a second and let you just hear what the amount of noise that the protesters are giving. This is right outside of the chamber. So obviously a very, very, very passionate protest happening just outside of that chamber hall where they're trying to have those comments and conversations before the final vote in the Senate, in the state Senate. But you can see a large number of people there protesting.
They kept having to mute the entire thing, the whole feed, because the people protesting outside of the courtroom was getting too loud. And y'all passed that shit. Didn't nobody want it but you. Didn't have no problem passing that at all. Maybe the reason why people feel so broken right now is because the things that kept us strong are disappearing. I don't go to church. I'm not Christian, but I know several Christians that don't go to church anymore. We're not going to church. We're not having certain types of gatherings. When was the last time you went to like a real block party? I'm not talking about this new age bullshit where there's a fucking vendor around every damn corner. I'm talking about a real block party where there's music and there's dominoes in one area and there's spades in another area. And then there's people jump roping. There's niggas grilling out. And then there's not anything that you have to pay for. It's a block party. So I'm not going to sit up here and tell you to go out and vote. And I'm not going to sit up here and tell you that your vote doesn't matter at all. Maybe the answer isn't more political awareness. Maybe the answer is in rebuilding that connection. And maybe that's why everything feels so off right now. People don't gather anymore. People don't trust each other anymore. Everybody's angry. Everybody's alone. Everybody's performing strength while quietly burning out. Oh no. If Black women and community really are the backbone of resilience within the Black community, then maybe we should stop treating both like they are disposable. Out of all of these parking spots everywhere, out of all of these parking spots, this bitch decides that she's gonna park right behind me.